questions. Live to take some questions because I missed my live this Monday. I usually do live question and answers every Monday at 10 a.m. But we have a lot going on in our house, lots of projects. So I'm doing it today instead. And I have at least a good 40 minutes to spend with you guys. I'm on YouTube as well. Hopefully some people show up there. Wow. So my YouTube is on my other phone to the right of me, and you can really see how pregnant I am at this angle. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I've definitely grown quite a bit. We're super excited. Good morning. Thank you for joining. So I am just here to answer any questions that you guys have about anything. Life, carnivore, Jesus, thoughts, opinions. It is God's miracle. And He has made that so clear to us. You know, since we had a miscarriage in November, I've still had my moments of concern for sure. But the way that God told us that we were having a son and gave us a name for him was just so reassuring. And it just reminds me that He is in control and this is His gift. And I actually just bought the first piece of clothing for our baby boy. I was at Target, which I don't normally shop at. I was there to pick up some free boxes for moving. But I walked by the baby boy section and there was this newborn outfit with little bears on it and a little hat with bear ears, and I just had to get it. So we're very excited. What vitamins are necessary for bone growth? So primarily D3, calcium, and K2, and they all work together to get calcium into your bones. A lot of people like to just focus on calcium when we hear bone health, but all three of those are really, really important. You actually don't need that much calcium. You need the other things to channel it properly, and it can be dangerous to supplement calcium also. And then I will also say that bones are very much so protein as well. Maria Emmerich was the one who brought this to my attention. I think it was on a podcast that I heard her speaking a couple of years ago, and I did the research after I heard it. Bones are very much amino acids as well, so you need to be eating enough protein. So I had osteoporosis. That was the very first thing I was diagnosed with. Actually, asthma was the first. Actually coop when I was born, but osteoporosis I was diagnosed with in 6th grade. So that's pretty wild. Not osteopenia, osteoporosis. And so I have reversed that, and I've worked with a lot of people to reverse osteoporosis. And usually they're older people and they have all seen success, which is so exciting. And a huge part of that for each and every one is eating enough protein. Yes, David, a man after God's heart. Yeah, I've been reading through the story of David and in the Bible in 1st and 2nd Solomon. It's an amazing story, and I'm just really excited. Really, really excited. I have 4 people on YouTube. Good morning. I'm here to answer questions if you guys have any. For those who don't do dairy but you're looking for a calcium source, you could do eggshell powder, which is pretty easy to make. You just save your eggshells, bake them, grind them into a powder. Or you could do bones. I love to eat bones, especially the bones from Billy Doe Meats. It's just from cooking the meat. So they have bone-in stew cuts. And so I cook that on high for 3.5 hours and the bones become really soft. Excuse me. I literally just choked on my own spit. What foods, excuse me guys, it was the wrong pipe. What foods have K2? I've broken my finger and after surgery x-ray showed bone loss. Man, this is bad. So you could do egg yolks, egg yolks and liver are the first two things that come to mind, that are animal foods. And there is some in plant foods, but keep in mind it's not bioavailable like animal foods have it. So those are the first two that come to mind. I do think various sources of dairy contain vitamin K2, but I don't know whether or not you do dairy. So egg yolks and liver also contain a whole other host of amazing nutrients. I lost a lot of viewers from coughing, I think. That's so funny. What about giving meat bones to dogs? Raw, cooked, if they cooked, they need to be very soft, right? Yeah, we give our dogs the soft bones. Our dogs have learned they've learned that they can't swallow hard bones. And Tyler actually taught them this by holding onto the bone and allowing them to chomp on it, and for them to realize, okay, this isn't being crushed in my mouth, I can't swallow it. So then they'll just eat the meat around the bone. But we've been very intentional to teach them that so they don't choke. But when we're feeding them bones, they are soft, like the ones that we eat. And I do give them quite a bit as well. It's a really great source of calcium, and dogs need calcium. We also give them eggs with the shell on. I was giving them some of my quail eggs that I got from Costco, which are like this size, and they'll just eat them in one bite. They'll eat the whole thing with the shell, and it's such a great source of nutrients for them. Calcium is also something that can be, if someone's having leg cramps, that could also be the cause, is a calcium deficiency. First things people generally think of would be potassium and magnesium. That's what I would generally think of. But it could also be calcium deficiency, just something to consider. How long do you boil them with the shell on? We don't boil the eggs. You just feed them. You give them the whole shell. They can eat the shell as is. There's nothing wrong with eggshell as is. I'm so glad you love liver, because that is a superfood. Now, when consuming liver, I would definitely keep in mind that it's very rich in vitamin A, and vitamin A toxicity is a big concern that can be very problematic. So I personally wouldn't recommend, and I do not eat more than a couple ounces in one sitting. And so I like to do like raw frozen hunks, maybe this size, every day. And since I've been pregnant, I just haven't had the appetite to eat raw liver. I think that I'm a little bit more cautious about eating raw things, although I do eat my meat pretty rare at Fogo. But I have been taking capsules. So if you enjoy eating liver, just be sure that you're not overdoing it. I remember like 2 years ago, good morning, Helen. 2 years ago, I remember it was just the frozen liver gang was coming out, and some people were eating liver as a meal, like huge portions of it, like multiple times per week. I don't think it's a big deal if you have liver and onions as a meal, once a month or something. But if you're doing that a couple times a week because it's a superfood, just know that sometimes more is not necessarily better, especially when it comes to liver. I do not eat the eggshell. No, I don't enjoy eating eggshell. I eat bones, and that is my calcium source. However, I am eating dairy now too, so I get plenty of calcium. I don't like eating eggshells, but the dogs do. Like, they'll see me throwing out an eggshell and they'll be like, why aren't you giving me this? They really enjoy it. What do you put your eggshell powder in? Is it still crunchy? No, powder, any type of powder is not crunchy. If you can really blend it into a true fine dust powder, which you'll be able to if you bake your eggshells, you can put it into anything. You could sprinkle it on your food. You could blend it into a protein shake. You could even put it in your coffee if you drink coffee. It doesn't taste like anything, and you don't need more than, I think it's like 1 or 2 teaspoons a day would be an appropriate serving. So you don't need a lot, is my point. If it were me, I would blend it into like a prime protein shake or something. Should I eat eggshells? If you are needing a source of calcium and you're not getting it from dairy, that would be a good source. Another benefit of calcium, which not many people are looking for, but if you have chronic diarrhea issues, calcium can stop you up and kind of slow things down. I have voluntarily constipated myself. I know Helen has. Eating too many bones, it's like, I know it's going to happen, but these are so delicious. And I definitely am like not going at the regular time that I am the next day, which is kind of funny, but I have worked with people who had chronic diarrhea. One really sweet girl that I worked with had just gotten married and she was going on her honeymoon and she wanted to stop her chronic diarrhea. And so she just ate a bunch of bones and it was actually super effective. So if you're ever in that situation, Helen's laughing. Yeah, she knows. Just so you guys know, if you think I'm savage for eating bones, Helen eats tentacles and I can't get down with that. Interesting. How long do you bake them? I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can literally just Google homemade eggshell powder. I think you bake them at 425 for like 10 to 15 minutes. It's not long. The baking process is mostly to kill off any bacteria, which is really important. No questions on YouTube, but still 3 people. So I thank you guys for joining. I wonder what you're doing. What are you guys doing? Drinking coffee, eating eggs, taking a walk? Tyler and I get to go to Fogo today, so I'm really excited. Helen's on a walk in the sunshine. I bet it's really hot where you're at. Here in Illinois, it's blazing hot outside, and it's, not even 10 o'clock in the morning. It's just been so humid lately, which is not my favorite. I have been trying to walk, though. Even if it's just for 7 minutes, it makes a difference. Ugh, 110. I don't know how you do it. Happy anniversary this weekend. Thank you. Just walked my dog too in North Carolina. My mom and dad are in North Carolina. My mom was saying that yesterday. She's like, it's the kind of hot that makes you sick when you go outside. And I think she was saying it was like the feel was like 104. The key is a hat and water. I haven't really taken advantage of hats. That's actually a really good idea. That makes a lot of sense. Any other questions? I wear a sombrero. It works. That's a very good idea. So I'll just talk about my retreat until you guys have some questions. It is halfway booked, and I have been talking with Maria Emmerich about the recipes that she's going to make when she's with us. Maria, I hope no one here doesn't know who Maria Emmerich is. She's a legend. She is like a million cookbooks. She has a real true gift of making keto and carnivore things really interesting and not plain or bland. And I am so excited. I've learned a lot from her in my recipe creations and stuff like that. And she's also very, very smart and versed on keto and carnivore. She's also just a really sweet person. So I'm super excited to be with her. But she is going to be making the hard-boiled egg chocolate pudding, which sounds crazy, but I think it's going to be delicious. I've never had it, but she said that it's Ken Berry's favorite, so she's going to make that. And then she's going to make her chocolate lava cake. That sounds incredible. I'm particularly very excited about that. And she's going to make her best steak sauce ever. That's what it's called. And then she just told me, tell me what else you want me to make, because that's her happy place. But yeah, Craig is also amazing. I wish he could be there. They're just so sweet. Maria also does her own retreats in around the world, which is really my dream. I would love to do that. I would love to take it to Greece or Costa Rica and things like that. We'll see. That pudding is so good. I make it with just egg whites too. Wow. That is really impressive. I mean, it makes sense. The texture makes total sense. I'm gonna have to try that. During this pregnancy, I still am doing really well with eating well and nourishing myself. I haven't had crazy cravings, but I will say that I just entered the second trimester. I'm at 15 weeks, and my appetite has definitely ramped up a lot. And so I don't like eating the same thing back to back to back. I like using my increased appetite to recipes and stuff. So I'm just really grateful that I have different ideas instead of pulling out a bag of chips or popcorn or something like that. These recipes are very helpful. Can you speak about autophagy? Want to build muscle and get rid of loose skin. I'm 74, ketovore for almost 3 months. Awesome. Lost 10 pounds and have been healed of several things. So autophagy is basically cellular cleanup. The word autophagy actually means to eat oneself, to consume oneself. And so basically what is happening is your body is recycling damaged proteins and sweeping them up and cleaning your system. And that's a really, really beautiful thing. So autophagy, a lot of people associate that with fasting, which is true. Fasting increases autophagy as well as other things like human growth hormone. But that's not the only way to increase autophagy. Exercise is a really great way to increase autophagy. And I actually have a YouTube video on autophagy that you might want to check out. And that's it. So what I would say is have a balance of exercise that you enjoy, whether that be gardening or going for a walk or playing with your grandkids if you have grandkids, or going for like a swim. It doesn't have to be in the gym lifting heavy weights. However, if you like doing that, then that's a great way to increase autophagy and to induce autophagy. So the way that I think about it is autophagy occurs when insulin gets low enough, which is why fasting induces it. But exercise can also induce autophagy, because when we exercise, we're depleting glycogen, and eventually our body is going to need more glycogen. So I would just say do some healthy intermittent fasting, nothing extreme. 16-8 is enough to induce autophagy every day, and then find some light exercise. And also for the loose skin, which is the issue that you mentioned, I would also say please be sure that you're eating enough protein. I generally recommend 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight. As you get older, I think it becomes actually more important that you eat enough protein. But when our hormones change and we go through menopause and stuff, we don't necessarily need as much. So the range that I give people is 0.8 times your lean body mass up to 1 gram per pound of desired body weight. And so it's going to vary depending on the individual. Since you've already lost your weight, I personally would aim for 1 gram per pound of desired body weight of protein. And that protein is going to be really important for tightening up your skin. Have you ever heard that someone developed diabetes when they leave carnivore? I've never heard that, no. I mean, I was strict carnivore for years, and I am no longer strict carnivore, and I eat carbs, not every day, but every week. And I am definitely way more insulin sensitive and metabolically flexible. And so I think that it just depends on how people, what does that look like when someone's leaving carnivore? Are they just throwing mindfulness out the window, or are they taking what they've learned and using their new and improved insulin sensitivity and all that good stuff? Because I was not always able to handle carbs for a long time, and I do now, thanks to the carnivore diet and just taking that time to heal at a systemic level, which takes time. So I think it would depend on how the person goes off of carnivore. If someone's just throwing in the towel and going to eat the standard American diet, yeah, that's going to shock the body. And even if you weren't coming from carnivore, eventually that very often leads to diabetes, which is why we have such a problem here in America. Speaking of diabetes, the gestational diabetes test for me is coming up, where they ask you to drink this nasty syrup of pure sugar and measure how much your blood sugar spikes and how it comes down. I am definitely just going to tell them no. And I really like my doctor, so I'm not looking forward to that. Our experience with the doctor that I have has been so good. They haven't pushed any vaccines. She's just been so supportive, and the appointments have been so, like, really good. We've gotten an ultrasound whenever we wanted to. We don't have to wait long, so, but I don't think I actually don't think she'll have a problem with it. Okay. Nisha did a CGM for a month to prove that her blood sugar was great. That is a really good idea. Oh, that's so smart. So I will definitely come with information, because I don't have a continuous glucose monitor, but I do have multiple devices to check my blood sugar, my ketones. That's a really good idea. I'm going to do that. Don't they just have you test your glucose for a couple weeks? I honestly don't know. I've never gotten this far in pregnancy. I just know that she mentioned that I had that glucose tolerance test coming up. I don't think at my next appointment, but the one after. So I'm just going to tell her I'm not doing that. The doctor should prescribe one for you, which is a great way to get a free one or insurance paid one. True. I would love to try it. I was actually going to get on board with NutriSense, which I really like that monitor. It seems really cool, but then I got pregnant and they said they don't do it when people are pregnant, which I don't know why. But I will probably be doing something with them after this pregnancy. But yeah, I'll ask about it. That would be really cool. I would love to do a continuous glucose monitor. That would be really cool. And previously in my life, I don't think it would have been a good thing. It's too much data for me. I would just be obsessing about it, but now I have a lot more peace. And I don't think I would be triggered if my blood sugar did spike. So I think that would be really fun, and it would just be cool to share. I like sharing my recipes that I've been having during pregnancy. It's a lot of variety, but My blood sugars have been so stable. They're satiating, keeping protein really high, and I even thought about making a cookbook just for people who are pregnant who want to stay low carb or animal based, but I'm just putting all these recipes into the cookbook that I'm currently writing, which is coming along. I think it's like 121 pages. Just chalk it up to baby brain. I can't be dishonest, but baby brain is a thing. That is for sure. I noticed the forgetfulness. I don't know if you guys can hear the dogs. They're going crazy about something. Can you guys hear that? Bear is ridiculous. I was very forgetful in the first trimester. Like right around when I first found out that I was pregnant, I did some really stupid things just out of forgetfulness. It was a little frustrating, but I haven't been dealing with that as much, thankfully. Still a little bit, but not as much. Yesterday, I made some carnivore chicken nuggets, and I was eating them with the Primal Kitchen ketchup. And so that was on the counter, and Tyler said bye to me because he goes to the gym in the late afternoon with his two buddies. And his shaker bottle was next to the ketchup, but he grabbed the ketchup and walked out the door. It was hilarious. Can you share how you meet your daily potassium requirement? Thanks. I take 7 to 10 scoops of Redmond Relight every day, and it comes with the sodium, the potassium, everything you need in the way that it should be balanced, which is really important. I did get some potassium in bulk, by bulk supplements to add to my electrolyte slushy. Not every day. I don't use it every day, but I do think that, so I know actually that during pregnancy my body needs more of specific nutrients like glycine, collagen, and I believe potassium is one of them. So a couple times a week I'll add, a teaspoon of that to the slushy. I'm also taking way more iodine than I was. So the only thing about using potassium supplements in isolation, it can be very dangerous because if you get a little too much or not enough, you could literally end up in the emergency room with really bad heart palpitations. You can get numbness of your limbs. So just really be careful. I do not recommend supplementing potassium in isolation due to that. So you need to be very specific. Other ways to get it: apple cider vinegar. Be careful if you have histamine intolerance. That's not a good idea. That is a very good source of potassium. And now I am eating other foods. So, I'll have some avocado. I even have quarter of a banana. I make a shake with it. So I'll do vanilla protein powder, and peanut butter, prime protein, and then a quarter of a banana, which is plenty to have that delicious banana flavor. So that's another source of potassium. So if you're a strict carnivore, then I would say find a good electrolyte supplement to cover all of your bases. That is why I favor Redmond Relight over Element. Element is awesome. It has great ingredients, it tastes awesome, but Redmond has more potassium. And I am biased. I've been with Redmond Life products since I was a child. And so I was super excited to see that they came out with this electrolyte supplement. Fur babies are adorable. They really are, but I tell you what, they are a lot sometimes. I'm so excited to get into this new house because where we're at now, they come into the basement, or the lower half of the house. We live in a split level home, and since some of them get in fights, we actually have to rotate them now. Bear and Loki Bear is jealous of Loki, basically. Bear is trying to show his dominance, and so we have to keep them separated, and so we always have dogs inside now, which didn't bother me for a long time, but now it does. And sometimes I'm just like, I just wish there were no dogs right now. Oh, hi.
Hello.
You want to come say hi?
You're alive?
Yeah. Do you want something?
No.
Okay. So in our new home, we have a big yard, and we will be able to, we're going to build a fence. Tyler is probably going to build one, and we're just going to make a really nice area for them. Put a den out there, and Tyler wants to put fans out there for them, so that'll be really fun. I just learned how to hide a user on YouTube, which is great because some people just leave ridiculous comments. I have 3 big dogs. I don't know how you do 6. It's all Tyler. He had 5 when I met him, and they all slept in his bed with him. And he wasn't planning it. He had an unplanned litter, and he had a ton of huskies, and so he kept 3 of them from that litter, and then he had 2 from prior to that. And then actually after the miscarriage is when I decided I really wanted a dog of my own, and Tyler really encouraged me to do that. So now we have Moose. I have 2 dogs and a foster dog that do not get along, so the foster dog is separated from our dogs. Bummer about the fights. Yeah, I mean, they are so great. All of them are so great. Elena she is the alpha. She is grumpy. She's just salty. She will bark at Harper, who is one of the younger girls, just obnoxiously. They have gotten into fights, but not like Loki and Bear. Bear is a firecracker. He has so much energy, and he is obsessed with Tyler. Bear and Tyler have a very special bond. So this one time, Tyler threw a toy to Loki, and Bear attacked Loki. And so it's a jealousy thing for sure. And Loki is such a good boy. He's a sweet boy. Bear is such a sweet, good boy. So I always feel bad talking about it because I don't want people to think we have bad dogs. They are amazing. They're very well behaved, actually. But it's just a dominance thing. How much of the 2% iodine drops should I use? I've seen the 5% recommendations. Okay, so the 2% iodine on Amazon by Lugol's has instructions on the description of the product, and I would just encourage you to go look at that page because that is the best way to be sure that you're getting the right amount. I believe that 2 to 4 vertical drops is plenty. I personally, being pregnant, I take around 7 to 8 vertical drops per day. There are so many studies on iodine showing that people in other countries are getting way more iodine, way more, and they are doing better in terms of health. And so even if I wasn't pregnant, I would still be taking slightly above the recommended dose. So do your own research. I can't make a specific recommendation for you because I don't know you enough. If you have thyroid issues, then you need to be cautious. Iodine can help, but too much of it can be a problem, just like liver. So check out the description on the product page and then decide for yourself what you need. And then I also have a YouTube video on iodine, but I had to make an adjustment to my recommendation because I think I said dropper fulls instead of actual drops, and that would be a problem. So I put a little disclaimer there. Okay. Question, do you recommend not washing fine hair as well as curly hair? Yes, I do not wash my hair. I haven't washed it since November, and it has the most volume it's ever had. I actually have excuse me. I actually have less volume today than I normally do up here because I took it out of the plop before it was done drying completely. But I highly recommend it because it's a massive time and money saver. If you have fine hair, I actually think that it would help with the volume and the strength of your hair. Definitely. Every time we wash our hair, you're stripping those oils. It is important to remove any buildup. Even if you're not using product, you will get sebum buildup, which is just on your scalp. So you can buy a little circular brush and break up the sebum. And then I also use apple cider vinegar on my scalp, and I rub it in once every 2 months, but sometimes more often. Like if it's really knotty in the shower, that will make it I can brush through it no problem. So apple cider vinegar is the only thing I use if I use that, but that's very rare. But for fine hair, I definitely would recommend trying it. I have seen a medical grade liquid collagen boast 4 types of collagen. Do you know what prime collagen contains? If you mean the prime protein collagen, I'm not sure. I actually don't know much about the 4 different types of collagen. I think that collagen is a little overhyped, so people can sell a bunch of supplements. I think the best way to get collagen is from cooking meat with the bone in it. You can see from the broth that I make from Billy Doe Meats, it is so gelatinous. It's insane. I mean, I could flip the whole pot upside down and it wouldn't come out. It's so gelatinous. So I'm pretty sure that covers all my bases. So I just wouldn't be so keen to buy a product when I could just eat delicious meat and eat the liquid that I cooked it in, and it's delicious. How long does it take for the greasy look to go away? It really depends. So I didn't really have greasiness. Honestly, I had a little bit of dandruff for like 3 days, and then that resolved itself. My husband Tyler was the first one to do this, and his hair was greasy for 2 weeks. And then one morning he woke up and he was like, it's not greasy anymore. And I was like, what? And it totally wasn't. It was just back to healthy balance. My hair is not greasy. It's really, really not. Like, I can stick my hands in my roots. It's not greasy. It just feels like healthy hair. And I'm really, really happy about that, because I remember getting greasy hair when I used to straighten my hair all the time. So the answer is it can take up to 2 weeks, and that's to my knowledge. I have a video on this as well on YouTube. Will you save this somewhere? I missed the beginning. Yes. When I'm done, I will post it to my feed on Instagram, so you should be able to click it. Ooh! I almost fell. And watch from the beginning. That would have been really bad, because I'm wearing a dress. Ah, that would have been so embarrassing. How much does Moose weigh? That's a good question. That man, he has to weigh at least 75 pounds. I held him in my arms. I needed Tyler to help put him in my arms. And that was like a month ago. And I was barely holding on. He is heavy. And he has a lot of loose skin because of it's just his genetics. And so he's kind of hard to hold on to. He is a tank. When he plays with people, he bumps his body all over the place. Him and Bear will play on the deck, and you can just hear Moose slamming up against the door. He is such a sweetheart. And Moose, all the puppies in our home get puppy treatment, rightfully so. And Moose has, we put him in a crate next to my bedside when he was, when we first got him. And then about, I think 3 months ago, he graduated to the bathroom floor in our bedroom. And now every morning he jumps up and cuddles with Tyler and I. He'll get right between us. He'll flip upside down and want us to rub his belly, and then he'll come up and lay on my pillow. But he does this thing where he sits on people. He does it to the other dogs, and he does it to us. He'll sit on my face. And it's his way of cuddling, but it's like, you are too big. He's a big boy, and he's gonna get huge. He has so much growing to still do, so he is still very much a puppy in my eyes. He's gonna get, I personally believe he will be bigger than any of the other dogs, even Bear. Do you think it's important to get tested for the MTHFR gene mutation? No, I do not. I had that. Many of my clients have it. You can change your gene expression, and so when you start eating enough meat and animal foods with bioavailable B12, it will not be a problem. You can literally heal that defect at the mechanism. So I don't think it's worth it. does CrossFit have beginners classes, or how does CrossFit work for someone who has not exercised in years and is 58? I'm 58. I just want to applaud you for even considering it. So it's going to depend on the gym. A lot of gyms are very welcome, very opening, very open to any age group, and the coaches are excellent where they're actually watching your form. They're not going to push you to do more than you should do. And CrossFit just gets a bad rap. Yes, people do get hurt doing CrossFit, but those are the people who are lifting heavier than they should, and they're not paying attention to their form, and their coaches might even be pushing them to do that, which is really not good. But there are so many good gyms. So the one that we go to, we have people, let's see, the woman who visited yesterday was 78, and she was doing toes to bar. So she had been doing CrossFit for 7 years, she said. But we have people who are in their 50s or 60s who scale the workouts. I've been scaling my workouts because I'm pregnant. And then they also have like a children's CrossFit, which is so cool during the summer. But we have a lot of older people, mature people, or even people who would be considered seniors, and you can scale any movement. So I know there are other gyms out there that offer that, and it is so awesome. And in terms of, being a beginner, not just your age, they will also pay attention to that. So I used the beginner's bar, the women's bar, which is 15 pounds versus 35, which is a standard bar for women. I used that for like my first year of CrossFit for many movements, the snatches, the power cleans, just because I couldn't lift that much weight. They have wooden plates, so they have stuff for beginners, and a good coach won't push you to do more than what you can do, especially before you have even learned proper form. I know that some gyms actually take beginners through a special course to teach you all the basics of CrossFit. So if you can find a good gym, just know that you will be provided for, and look around you, Google search gyms nearby, call them on the phone or visit in person and ask them these questions. What do you do for people who are older? Do you scale things? Do you offer anything special for beginners? Or what does that look like? So it's just about having a good gym, really. And CrossFit is so enjoyable. I look forward to it. I have a 6-month-old puppy, and he is almost 60 pounds, and he does the sitting on people too. My poor other dog, he hates it. I don't know why Moose does it. It's so funny. He is a big boy, and he's got a big bottom. He just will, he will sit on my whole face, and he'll sit on Tyler's head when Tyler's laying on his pillow, and he'll just sit there smiling, and he definitely doesn't realize what he's doing. It's so funny. 99% carnivore for over a year now, and still constantly feel like my brain is gently being squeezed. I also have headaches and loose stools off and on. Any idea what direction to look? It, to me, sounds like your electrolytes are off. It sounds like you're having electrolyte imbalance. So if you're not already taking a pre-formulated electrolyte solution like Element or Redmond, I would definitely get on something like that to start covering all your bases, and maybe run some labs if you have a doctor who can run just your electrolyte panel. Would be great. Another thing that could give you that feeling like your brain is being gently squeezed is low blood sugar. So I would also monitor your blood sugars if you haven't done that already. It could be that you're not eating enough. Carnivore is very satiating, and that can be dangerous if you're having hypoglycemia. I had to think about it for a minute, but I used to get hypos into the 30s, and I would hide from my family because I didn't want them to take me to the emergency room because nothing good ever happened there. And I would just hide in the little office that I spent time in, and I was so cold, and I would get that feeling like my brain was being squeezed. But you might know what hypoglycemia feels like. The headaches and loose stools off and on also can be attributed to electrolyte imbalance for sure. So that's where I would start if I were you. Good questions. Alright, it's been 45 minutes. I think I still have 10 minutes or so. If you guys have any questions. What else is going on? At the retreat, we're also going to have Lisa Wiedemann, and she is going to be making us fried cheese. She came to my last retreat, my spring retreat this year, and she's so fun to be around. I really love her as a person, and she said that we're going to be making fried cheese, which I've never made fried cheese before, but it sounds awesome. I'm thinking that I will just be using more cheese. I did consider making like the pizza that I made, or the chicken nuggets, but these retreats are supposed to be bougie. You know, the food is high quality, and I want people to have a chance to eat some foods that they wouldn't normally eat. And so the pizza and the chicken nuggets, anyone can make those, or pork rinds and cheese and canned chicken. Like, anyone can do that. So I will be featuring the things that are not as common for people to realize, wow, this is a really good option and it's so easy to make. What do you use as makeup remover? I use Kirkland, which is Costco makeup remover wipes. They are, they don't irritate my eyes, and I'm very sensitive. Definitely very sensitive. I don't do anything on my face because I don't wear foundation, but I do use makeup remover on my eyes, like when I'm wearing eyeliner and mascara. And it doesn't bother me at all. As far as electrolytes go, what could be signs of taking too much? So on our honeymoon, I brought my electrolytes to the open bar at the pool, and they were mixing them with lime juice and ice, which was Helen's idea. And it was such a good idea. It tasted so good, but I got carried away, and I must have had 10 of those drinks, and they were putting 4 scoops in each drink. And I definitely overdosed electrolytes. I think the potassium is what I was feeling most, because that night I was freezing cold. We were in Mexico, by the way. I was under the covers, freezing cold, and practically paralyzed. It was very difficult to move my legs. And so that is definitely a severe symptom. Heart palpitations can be another one. Thankfully, I didn't have those. Diarrhea is a sign that you've overdosed on electrolytes. Vomiting is also a sign. So you're going to feel clearly uncomfortable if you've taken too much. Thankfully, your body will warn you many times before it gets to that point. You'll start peeing out what you don't need, especially sodium. I don't even know if it's possible to overdose on sodium. Your body will pee out what it doesn't need, but it is possible to overdose on potassium. So I think it's hard to get to that point. And like, I take up to 10 scoops of Relight per day, which is 10 grams of sodium. And that's where I feel optimal. I had to really overdo it to have any symptoms. So, yeah. I think it'll be obvious if you do overdo it. One of the first symptoms would probably be loose stools, and excessive pee. I think those are the first ones. All right, well, the questions have kind of slowed down, so I think I'm gonna head off. Tyler and I have an appointment, and then we go to Fogo. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you have any other questions, feel free to message me. I can't always answer specific questions or recommendations because I need to know the individual. Like iodine. I can't recommend how much iodine to take because you could have a thyroid issue. But if you have, broad questions, I'm happy to answer them. I really enjoy it. So feel free to reach out that way. if you're interested in my retreat, we have spots open. It's going to be incredible, and this might be my last retreat, which is really sad to think about. But we don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have the baby in January, and we're planning on taking a year off, so the spring and fall retreat. And then after that, we just don't know what life is going to look like. So I really hope to be able to continue doing them, but it'll be a while until this opportunity comes up again. So please let me know if you're interested. I'm so excited. Meeting people in person, spending time with you in person is the best. Have a great day.